You definitely mentioned, unfortunate death of a patient. Can you talk to me, I guess, about the first death that you experienced and witnessed?
Yeah, I think we spoke about this earlier as well. I mean, I just actually had a patient of mine very recently die, which was very stressful even now. But in the hospital, I'm just going through now all the deaths that I've certified. There were so many. Probably the one experience, and this isn't the one we've discussed previously, this is actually a death certification, but it's just come into my head. It was when I was in the emergency department and the admin lady, it was at 3 o'clock in the morning, came up to me and she said, there's a DOA. And I was like, what? And she said, oh, there's a DOA. And I was sort of thinking, what's a DOA?
What is a DOA?
And she said, well, it's a dead on arrival. And I was like, oh, right. And so, this is also actually one of the chapters in my book, sort of loosely based on. And I didn't realise then that we actually had to certify deaths. Because no one had told me. And then, so you go out in the middle of it was, the summer and there was this, corpse in a body bag and and you're sort of standing there going, oh, okay, I'm trying to remember my medical school, listen to the heart, And it was so absurd because I actually remember having a discussion with admin about this later at like a drinks thing where I sort of said, I was a bit stressed out the first time I certified a death. And they're like, do you have to do that? And I sort of thought, well, what do you think happens, when we're in the big bad world of the ward or the emergency department? Like, it shocked me that an administrator at the hospital I was working at didn't know that an intern had to do that. And that, like I said, that was just a memory. That wasn't the first horrendous death story. It was just the first time I'd certified a death, and it was really intense. It was really intense, and no one had really talked me through it. Actually, I only found out very recently you can call your insurer who will help you talk you through that, which I had no idea about.
Yeah, look, I remember the first time I had to do a death certificate. It was 2 a.m. in the morning and I was sitting on this ward and I was going through all the coroner checklist questions that you're supposed to go through. And I said, I don't actually know how to fill this out.
Yeah, it's confusing.
And no one teaches you. And I guess it's something that you just learn on the job. And I remember ringing my registrar and saying, do I have to tell the consultant that the patient's passed away? And they said, not now, it's only 2 a.m. in the morning. And again, in retrospect, it was definitely something I didn't realise that at that time I probably could have called Avant and got a bit of help.
I had no idea that I could have done that. And I would have. I would have called, well, I actually was with Avant. I'm still with Avant. I would have called them because I didn't know. And when you've got someone very casually saying there's a DOA, as if, there's a cup of tea outside, you think, oh, yeah. But then you're like, oh, right, okay. And that, I remember that very clearly because I just had no idea what to do. And then obviously, more of that happens and all the rest of it. But yeah, it was, again, one of those situations that is totally absurd. And I would go home and tell my housemate about it, who actually wasn't a doctor at the time, the girl I was living with, and she was like, mate, these stories are crazy. And you're sort of thinking, well, no, it's just what I have to do. But it actually is pretty crazy.